Welcome back to the channel, everybody. And the most asked question on every single video I do: what screwdriver is that? What screwdriver is that? What screwdriver is that? And I have answered it so many times that I'm just going to do a video telling you exactly what it is, and then going to discuss what I might be replacing it with. But it's just getting a bit much answering the same question every single time. So this is the Kinetic driver from a YouTuber called Jacko Whatever. Now, Jacko Whatever, spelt Giaco, is a YouTuber I've watched for years. They started making products. They bought a factory out in, I want to say, Italy. And the first product that he ever did was the Maker knife. Now, you'll have seen that on the channel years ago. I really like the Maker knife, and I was actually devastated when I moved house and I could not find it. And then 2 years later, my ex-partner Amanda just said, "Oh, have you checked in this place?" and found it like straight away. This was one of their later products that they did, and I didn't actually buy this. So a friend of mine called Matt, who goes in the Discord as Fatal D, I've known Matt for a very long time. He turned up at my house at the old address one day and just said, "Pick one." And he had 2 parcels. And I kind of knew what he had, and I didn't really understand what he was saying. I thought he was going to say, "You get to open that one, I'll open this one." But what he actually meant was he gave me these 2 parcels and he said, "Pick one." And he'd actually bought 2, as one was for himself and one was for me. And they were different colours. And, you know, probably one of the greatest presents ever, well, in terms of tools that I've ever received. And I use it almost every day. So if you're in the Discord, big shout out to Matt, Fatal D, the absolute legend that bought me this. And these aren't cheap. I don't know what they're going for nowadays, but they're not cheap for what they are. And it comes in this little like cork case, and you have the Kinetic driver, you have all these little bits that come with it, and this is what it is. It's just a very, very nicely manufactured screwdriver. And I think Jacko made this because he was frustrated with what else there was available on the market. And they have a really good sort of promo ad for this that they did on YouTube. And I wasn't gonna buy one because I thought it was a bit expensive. But as fate would have it, Matt got me one, and I got this one, which is the chrome and like sort of brass coloured one, and he had one which I think was black chrome and black. In my opinion, I picked the right parcel because I think this is the better colour. But it's just a very nicely manufactured screwdriver, which has a ceramic bearing in the top here. And the most I managed to spin this the once was like a minute and a half. It's just super smooth. It almost doubles up as a bit of a fidget toy. But it's just the whole premise around it is you can hold that bearing, and let's say you're turning a screw out on a component, you can spin it because this weight at the front here just carries that momentum. So if you're turning like a small screw out, you spin it and it will spin the screw all the way out. It's just a very, very nice screwdriver. So it's well over £100, I think. I think they were like 100 or 150. I'm not sure what the price is today. His website is called Placed, Placed Atoms. So you can go on there and find it. I've been wanting them to bring back the Maker knife for years now because I've always wanted a second one. And it was just a very fancy way of using like a Stanley blade. I think my friend Matt actually purchased one as well on the second batch. I got on the first batch where it was the Kickstarter, so I had to wait a hell of a long time. And I've just been waiting for Jacko to bring that Maker knife back. And I did see something the other day, sort of showing that they might be bringing it back. But it was a very unique product, and this again is a very unique product. And the bits are high quality, probably the highest quality compared to all the other bits that I've got. And I did buy these really expensive Wheeler tools where they come in sets where you've got metric, you've got imperial, and then you've got Torx. But things like this, like the 1.5, and You might not see this. This is an expensive tool. You might not see this, but the tool shafts are actually bent. I don't know if you can see the handle like oscillating there, but for an expensive tool, it was quite crap. Now, the bigger sizes are much better. In fact, that might have been the 2. This is the 1.5. This is the one that's... I'm sure this is the one that's bent. You might not be able to see it there, but you could definitely see it there. It's bent. So the 1.5 hasn't held up very well. It's not a very good, like, sort of precise fit. But all the bits that I've had for this, I think I've only ever broke one, which I'm not sure if I'll be able to spot it here, which is this one, which is a very small bit. And I was getting something out that was thread locked and it snapped. That's the only one, but that's the only time I've ever used that tool, which was a funky tool. And what was that? That was a T3 Torx, a very small tool. So yeah, you've been asking me for ages. I'm pretty sure that these pockets are like slightly magnetic. Maybe not. I could have sworn I've had screws in there before that have held nice. I might be imagining that, but yeah, it's just a very nice tool. It normally comes with like a big, you know, like the hair bubble material that women use. It came with a big one of them, which sort of wraps around each corner, which keeps it together so it doesn't come out. Now, for years, I managed to keep all the bits in the exact slots that were out the box, and I was pretty OCD with that until one day, I think I put it in a toolbox to take to a weekend game. The toolbox got flipped over to one side and this came open and all the bits went everywhere. So that's what I've been using. And this is the tool that I use to, you know, assemble all the end pass valves, so the MWS and the VFC end pass valves, just because it's so smooth. The bits are really high quality. And the way I've been, you know, sort of assembling the end pass valves is trying to pinch the valve with my finger. And that tool does allow me to keep the grub screw really straight when I'm putting it in. It takes a lot of time, puts a lot of stress on your fingers. I've actually stripped all the skin off these fingers, assembling end pass valves, especially when I've done a big order. So what did I get? So this is the M1 from Aramax. Now, I've been looking at getting like an electric version of this for some time. I watched some reviews and I decided to give this a go. Now, this is cheaper than the Kinetic driver. Now, this is usually, I think they usually go for like $59.99, like £60 on Amazon. You can get them on AliExpress as well, of course. The AliExpress ones might be a little bit cheaper, but you know, you get it on Amazon, you get it next day. Amazon currently have this on special where it's like 23% off or 25% off. I think it was like $45.99 or something like that. And I decided to pick one up. Now, it comes with a lot of bits. So you've got all these bits here. So we've got normal like Y-style shapes. We've got all these weird like security bit tools. We've got Torx, of course, which very good. You go all the way from T2 up to T20. You've got the P bits, which I think are like a 5-star. We flip it round. We've got flat heads. This tool here, which I'm not sure what it was. The only thing I'll say about this, even though that came out pretty easy, it's a 0.8. So I presume this is like an Allen key. Flatheads, normal Phillips, and then of course your hex bits, which we've got some squares, square hex bits there as well. You flip it from underneath, and you've got a selection of a couple of like more commonly used tools, Phillips, flathead, hex bits, Torx, that have extended shafts, and then this thing here, which I presume is if you need to extend it even further, maybe you need to get something that's behind something, you can extend it further. So very nice indeed. The one thing I will say, sometimes it's difficult, if you haven't got any nails, it's difficult to get these out because it's magnetized and they just sort of jump back in. So you have to like kind of push your finger there to pull them out. It's just slightly annoying. And basically what you do, you push this back and it'll come out like this. Now, you see we've got, if I hold that down, it should show, we've got 70% charge. out the box, it wouldn't work. So it wouldn't power on and I couldn't charge it. So I was charging it through a USB port on the computer. I actually had to plug this into a wall plug, like USB charger, and put the C slot in, and then it charged and it worked. The other thing that I will say is this LED, which is actually very useful, has been flickering and sometimes it doesn't come on at all. So there is a bit of issue with this, but you'll see it's got the number 3 here. We do 3 taps. We can go from 1 all the way up to 5. And these are your torque settings. So torque, not torques. And what this basically means is you've got a manual that comes with it and it tells you what the torques values are for each of these settings. When it reaches that torque value, the screwdriver turns off as you're putting something in. So you'll be going in, hits the torque value, it turns off. So I got this yesterday and I sat at my desk last night and assembled over 250 end-pass valves, because what I've been doing, I've had that many end-pass valves manufactured. I think it was like 500, but they've been selling like hotcakes lately. So what I've been doing is, as I get an order for an end-pass valve in, I pick up the blue valve, I pick up a grub screw. We've been selling that many actually. I ran out of grub screws, I had to order more. Let's find it. So it's a 1.3, no 1.5, sorry. So it'll be this one here. So usually I get that driver, which is a 1.5, and I put this in with the grub screw and I turn it. And what I normally do is do 6 half turns, and that puts the grub screw all the way so it's flush with the end like that. Sometimes it'll be a little bit past it, sometimes it'll be a little bit under it. But this takes a hell of a lot of time because I have to put the grub screw on there, get the valve, do this like 6 times. So 6 half turns, 3 rotations, and then it's on to the next one. And after a while, it really does hurt my finger. So I got this yesterday and I had, I think, like 200 MWS end-pass valves and 50 VFC end-pass valves. And I think it took me about 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And most of that time is literally picking up the grub screws, putting them on, and then lining it up and doing that. One thing I did find is that the setting 3 on this was perfect, to where as soon as that grub screw got flush with this, the torque setting would kick in and it would stop. But then I found that after so many uses, I was getting, sometimes it'd go all the way through, sometimes it'd stop short. That could be an inconsistency of the process that these are made of. But after that, what I ended up doing was I get the grub screw on here and I go 1, 2, 3, and pretty much most of the time it's exactly where it needs to be. This is a very long-winded video, I apologise, but this tool already has paid for itself because it's saved me a lot of time. Me just being able to spend 15-20 minutes and assemble, 250 parts has paid. Like, I would have, if you said I can make you assemble those 250 end-pass valves in 15-20 minutes, give me 45 quid, I'll go, there you go, there's 45 quid, let's do it. So in my eyes, this has paid for itself already, but I'm hoping, and what you can do is when it's not on, you could still use it as a normal driver. So one thing I will say is there's a lot of these out there where they're like just completely circular. So I was reading a lot of reviews and they were saying that once you get to some of the higher torque settings, it's enough for the screwdriver to like turn in your hands and like slip. This has got kind of like an oblong shape. So what I found is that I didn't have that problem because it gives you a flat surface on 2 sides, enough where when the torque does get a little bit much, it doesn't slip out your hands. So I will of course need to use this over time. They do give warranties with them. Like I say, you can get them on Amazon in the UK. There's loads of different variants of this stuff, but Aramax seem to have kind of a good name for themselves. The rest of them, some of the finishes and stuff they have just make them look cheap, but you can get like a pro version of this as well, where I think it comes with more accessories. So there's different stages, But yeah, that is the new little handy dandy tool that I've bought, and I really do love the case. You click it into place like that and it's good to go. I have toyed, now I can show you actually. I bought a ton of these on AliExpress, which is the same kind of like Chinese multi-tool packaging you see here. When I originally bought these off AliExpress, I thought I bought 2, ended up buying like 20 of them late night. I think they were really cheap, so I didn't even question it. And they turned up and I was like, oh shit, I didn't mean to order that many. But you can get things like this off of AliExpress as well. What you tend to find though is they're not quite as nice. Now I've kept these just because it's a nice little tool. I could very easily throw this in a kit bag, and if it got lost or, you know, damaged, I really wouldn't care too much. But I think these are like $9 or $10 on AliExpress. They're not expensive at all. You don't get as many bits. The quality's not as nice. So you can tell with this that the QC and everything kind of like that is very cool. And I think the way that some of these tool makers on AliExpress get you is they make the cases look really cool and like sci-fi-ish. Like you've got them where they look like this and they unfold. So it can and is a bit of a minefield. So because I got asked again recently what this was, I thought I'd show you guys what it is. I'm telling you where you can get it. If you comment on future videos asking what it is, I'm not going to reply to it. I feel like banging my head up the wall sometimes. So here it is, a video dedicated to this. It's from the YouTuber Jacko Whatever and his team. You can get it on his website, Placed Atoms. It is expensive, so you're expecting something cheap. That's not what it is. And you can tell in the craftsmanship of this thing that it is quality, it's heavy. This bearing, I mean, I've been spinning it for years now. I haven't had this for like a year. I've had this for multiple years. I had it when I lived at my old address. So big shout out to Matt in the Discord for that present. It's the gift that keeps on giving. But in terms of speed and, you know, production line stuff, which I need to do with the MPass valves now because they're super popular. I think we've sold a couple of thousand of them by now, so you can imagine how taxing that can be on your fingers. I actually went one step further and I 3D printed like a jig where I can put like 10 MPasses in, and with this I could just, you know, all the way across, do 8 or 10 at a time. So it makes it to a point where I can put them in stock on the website faster for you guys. So there it is. That's the last time I'm mentioning it. If you see people in the comments in future videos asking what this is, just tell them very kindly that there's a video on the channel about this. And thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out the link in the description and join the Discord community. And as always, from me and from Bench, we'll be seeing you in the next one.